I cried. I can't help it. I have a mom that's about to turn 100 that just fell and hit her head, has a little brain bleed. She's doing okay, but I'm going to see her next week. And I got to say, I think around the holidays, a lot of us can feel emotional anyway. And I cried like, there's just something about the whole scene with her wife in the Oval Office and that she's coming home that made me just, yeah.
Finally, though, it took such a long time, and it's I mean, the entire thing was just so horrifying, in that really there was not a lot of media attention on it. You know, if unfortunately, like if she had been a straight white male, like would you imagine if they treat Tom Brady that way? Or even like Michael Phelps. I mean, Brittney Griner is an Olympian.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
she is an incredibly important athlete to the United States. You know, the fact that she has been there for a year.
Yeah, I was trying to explain that to you know, for women's basketball, she's LeBron. You know, like she's like And you're right. And you were talking about being in the other groups, and you're right, to be black and gay in Russia, and to hear what a 16-hour day it looks like in a hard labor camp. I mean, just last week I was thinking this is just intolerable.
Yeah. It's going to take a lot to be able to come back, I think, emotionally for to deal with that, physically, to deal, you know, for an athlete in her prime. I think it'll probably be a lot easier than most people to get it physically, but we don't even understand like the trauma of having to be there, and maybe possibly having to be there for 9 years. It just, I mean, it just shows that the silent homophobia of our government, the silent homophobia that exists within our culture, that we're not making this number one priority to bring her home. She should have been home a year ago.
Yeah.
But it's really, you know, it's such a relief.
Bill in Jersey wanted to talk about Brittney as well. You're on with Margaret Cho. Hey, Bill.
Hi. Good morning. I wanted to bring a fact that no one seems to be talking about is the outrageous difference in salaries between the women's basketball and NBA, which forces them to go over there and start. That's the whole thing. Her employers started this whole thing, brought that criminal back to Russia. A person with 6 years in the NBA gets a minimum salary of $2,293,000, and Brittney Griner's average salary was $227,000. That's like a factor of 10 almost. And that they're the real criminals as far as I'm concerned. They caused this.
That's right.
And they got to make it up.
Yeah. Thank you, honey.
That's right.
Yeah, I mean, just the whole situation that, you know, and also she's over there being an ambassador for the sport she loves, you know, and helping Russia with her star power. Yeah.
I mean, I'm hoping that this is able to. I think that she needs to just heal. And what I would love for her is to be able to become an ambassador for human rights, for somebody who has experienced this trauma. You know, somebody like Nelson Mandela, who was able to come out of that imprisonment to great power. So I think this can only help, hopefully, in the long run, what we know who Brittney Griner is and what she will become. You know, we've seen the grace and the elegance throughout this horrifying experience.
Yeah.
And so I think she'll be able to share that. I hope that she writes a book. I hope that she gets many, many awards. And I just wish her all of the best, Margaret, especially to come home during the holidays.
This news broke right as I was coming down to start the show at 6 a.m. Pacific this morning, and I had to ask, and I knew that I already knew the answer. I'm like, the right wing is being awful, right? Of course. And Chris is like, yeah, of course. Don Jr. Tweeted something awful about her being anti-American and it being a bad deal, and I just thought, do you have any hope in our just sort of shared humanity? Because I have to say, we were at least on this show, and everyone that I saw on the left was extremely compassionate about Ted Cruz's 14-year-old daughter trying to commit suicide. But they weren't to Paul Pelosi. The most awful jokes
No, they were
in the
trying
world.
to frame it into some kind of weird, like, sex story. Like, what that is, the fact that somebody broke into their home, to attack him and break Nancy's kneecaps, yet they spun it into some weird sex fantasy that was a joke. It's not a joke. He needed emergency surgery. That's a serious offense. I mean, and it's an offense of your own making. You created this with your rhetoric of the anti-government, anti-Pelosi, this myth that you spun in this crazy guy's head.
Yeah.
Who's not even American, by the way.
But I mean, are we ever going to get that back, where Americans are happy that American is home with her family for the Christmas, for the holidays? Are we going to, it seems... both sides don't do it. I hate to say it. I'm not saying there aren't, some people that are awful on the left as well. But in general, I saw nothing but compassion and empathy for Ted Cruz, as awful as we feel he is politically, because this is a child, and it's it would be something that is just human, and not something that should be partisan. Mm-hmm. But like I say, the fact that they thought it was funny that an 80-something-year-old man was bludgeoned is just the difference between us.
The difference is really stark, but it's really like, it just shows how deluded they are. It also shows how brainwashed they are, unfortunately. Mm-hmm. Yeah. That they really have no idea what's going on. They're just going to take what's fed to them through these right-wing media outlets and run with it, and it's the misinformation that keeps echoing back, and that it becomes this human suffering that is a joke to them, mm-hmm. where they really, they take to heart their own stories, which didn't even really happen. Yeah, yeah. So it's very, it just shows the lunacy on so many levels. Yeah. I mean, I have to say one of the most just astonishing but heartbreaking moments was this mass shooter, the Q nightclub shooter's homophobic father, who was so relieved to find out his son wasn't gay, but appeared okay with him being a mass murderer,
right.
Because we don't do gay. That's also a weird way to frame the being gay. Do gay. Right. We don't do... I think he was looking at it through the lens of porn. We don't do gay for pay. I think that's sort of what. But I don't know.
But he did do gay. He did do gay for pay once, right? He did one gay porn.
Yeah. Well, it was a solo. It was a solo video.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Targeted at men.
Is that less gay? Okay.
Well, it's confusing. It's so confusing. I mean, that whole thing was just, horrible, but it's that's what they think. They think the worst thing in the world is to be gay, mm-hmm. Right. But it's not that. Right. That's also the strangeness of why are you trying to blame everything on this aspect of self that doesn't even come with a choice, doesn't even come with any kind. It's just some weird idea, but very frustrating.
Yeah. Randy in West Virginia, you're on with Margaret. Hey, Randy.
Yeah, it's nice that she got released. I think it was too much of a give on the United States for a gun runner. But what about the Marine that's been there for over?
I'm sorry, too much of a give. So
we gave up too much with the.
Yeah, we gave up too much.
I see. So you would prefer that she stays there, you would prefer that an American stays there in hard labor for a billion years.
You've got a Marine there right now in hard labor.
Right. So this is, I'm assuming this is all Biden's fault?
Nope, it's not Biden's fault.
So why weren't you there negotiating this?
Let's see, I think I'm just an ordinary citizen.
Mm-hmm. Okay, but your ideas are better, so why
I know, you want to play with him and I don't, because I'm too emotionally fragile this morning, but okay. This is what I mean, Margaret, about our humanity. They just make it all about politics. How can we spin this, that this is a bad deal? We're not talking about a human being.
But it's the idea of the wrongly imprisoned. Of course, it's a tragedy, and of course, there's quite a few people that we could talk about there. But I mean, when we're talking about public figures who are representing America in a show capacity, people who are playing these games that are there to represent the country, it's really an honor to have her in the country of Russia anyway to play.
Right.
Where people are going to come see her, and that's generating money for them.
Right.
So in a sense, it's a different capacity than people are going over there for military purposes. That's different. Like she's actually going as like a public figure.
Right.
So there's some sort of there are different rules in a sense, and it's only that at least the United States was willing to go that far. Yeah. And it's not like he's going to Russia. The gun runner is going to Russia to be free.
Right. Yeah.
Right. He's going to go to prison.
Yeah.
And it's also worth pointing out yesterday they passed a new law in Russia making it illegal to promote any positive portrayals of gays or lesbians in the country.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, that's the other thing you need to think about with her situation over there being a lesbian in jail.
Ow.